I see there's Liz from Naivasha, Karibu. There's Wanjira Eunice from Nairobi, Karibu. Olga Ramirez. I'm seeing you have a comment there that you'll be taking some meeting notes using some platform there. I think that's an interesting thing there. Dr. Safia from Mombasa, Dr. Linas from Bungoma, Patricia from Mombasa, Karibuni sana. So as we wait to reach the at least 150 members who are joining us, let's continue just engaging on the chat. Victor Molo from Nakuru, Karibu. Mark Smith Mwenda from Isiolo, Karibu. Rinette Shaita from Makueni, Dr. Angela from Nairobi, Bernard Siameto from Nairobi, Karibuni sana. Okay, so I see we are now past 150 who've joined us. So good evening once again, esteemed colleagues and members of the society. Welcome to today's session, which will be on professional CV writing and handling interview process. So I'll just briefly take you through the ground rules and a few announcements. So first of all is to thank you for joining this session. And the other thing is this is a webinar session, and that means you'll be muted during the entire course of this session. So for any questions that you have, kindly ask them through the Q&A tab or the chat box. And also this video is being recorded, so it will be made available on the PSK YouTube page. So for today's session, we have our speaker, Mary Oyeke, who is an operations and human resource specialist with over 24 years experience with United Nations and international NGOs. Her areas of specialty include recruitment, training, humanitarian logistics, and support. She has a BBA from National University of Lesotho. So at this point, I would like to invite our speaker, Mary Oyeke. Mary, if you can hear me. Mary, you can unmute.
Okay, sorry, do I start again?
Yes. Karibu, you could just begin the session.
Thank you very much for the honor of asking me to take your members through this session on CV writing and interview skills. This is just a summary of what there is. It is not the Bible. There is so much to be learned. We just try to make it brief and then see from this session what we can build up and have continuous discussions on how to prepare CVs or resumes and how to conduct oneself during interviews as well. Thank you. So okay, so slide 2. So members, if you want to write a good CV, you start with your name on the header and your contacts, your telephone and email contacts. Now you must have a professional email address to use when you're job hunting. I've given examples there, prettygirl@gmail.com or kevoisaplayer@gmail.com are not professional. You can put a summary of your career goals. It's not compulsory, but it helps the recruiter have a snapshot of what it is you're looking for in terms of job and career growth and patterns. Then the first subheading will be your work experience. Now, for your work experience, you start with the current or last job first, and the first job that you had shall come last. Now, the dates in which you held these positions and the position you held must be included in the first subtitle of your work experience. Thereafter, next slide. Okay. Thereafter, you have subheadings. Now, for each position, you have duties and responsibilities, summarize them, and then achievements comes under like the last subheading of the position that you have held. So for every position that you hold, have the first heading will be the title, the dates that you held that position, the organization that you worked in, and then followed by duties and responsibilities and achievements. Achievements helps because it shows that you didn't just do your daily work, you contributed towards building this organization that you worked for. Then after your professional experience or your work experience comes education. Again, with education, last qualification first, first qualification last. If you have any professional, vocational, and in-house training, include those as well, because it shows, someone may be looking actually for not just your technical experience, but other experiences that help build your portfolio towards what they're looking for as an individual to join their organization. Now, here I would like to point out that you do not need to attach your photo unless the job position calls for it. Usually I see with hospitality, they require photos. If you're not applying for a hospitality job, unless you're asked for a photo, it's not necessary to attach it. It just crowds your CV. Next slide. Okay, your personal information would include your hobbies, just for the recruiter to see if you will fit in well, if they have corporate social responsibility activities, or how you fit in as a team player, because it's not just about delivery, it's about how you work in cohesion with others. And at this point, you will include your postal address. Some people add their marital status and birth details, like date of birth, but I usually don't bother with that. It's not necessary because then it also puts you in a box and ages you. If we are looking for someone young, then and you are of that age, then you cut yourself off. So I wouldn't advise for that, but some people do it, and I will not bash them for doing it. Now, then we go to referees. If you're in the identifying referees, put the full name of the person, the title, where they are working or where they have worked, their telephone number and email addresses. Of most important note is that you must ask the people that you're putting as your referee before you include them in your CV, and ensure that this person will give you a good referral. It is very important. We shall discuss that at length because I know a lot of questions will come from that. Now, point to note is, this is now, we have finished the CV. Avoid enclosing your CV in the decorative boxes. I've seen a lot of, when I'm when I've received CVs and I'm downloading them to review for recruitment, your CV comes in this box. And depending on the version of Word that you used, that box can be detrimental to your recruitment. I am nice. I usually write back and say, listen, remove the box and send it to me without the box. But there's some recruiters, if I have 1,000 CVs, there's no way I'm writing to you to unbox your CV. I will just pass you, even if you are the best candidate for the job. Now, what recruiters are doing now, what companies are doing now, is they use bots to run CVs through. So if the bot runs your CV, if they run your CV through the bot and your CV is in this box, the box will hinder keywords from showing up because the system is set to pick up words. And if you're in this box, then it hinders it from accessing your CV and picking out the words that they are looking for that will enable them move you to the next level of recruitment. So those are the reasons why I would advise, if your CV is in those boxes, please remove, because you may be wondering why you're not recruited, and that could be one reason why. So we move to, we have finished the CV. We move to your letter of intent or your application letter. On the right-hand corner, you have your name, your address, date of application, just the way you would write a normal letter. Now, on the left, subsequently is the salutation to whichever organization it is you're applying to. And then you indicate, dear sir, madam. I have reiterated that this is very important because we cannot assume that every recruiter is a sir. I worked with one HR who, if you wrote dear sir and didn't put /madam, she dissed your CV because she said that was disrespectful. You can't assume every recruiter is male. So it's very important to have that dear sir /madam. And then you have the subject line of your letter. Don't forget, if you're copy pasting, don't forget to change the subject line. Some of us do forget, and you are applying for another position and you haven't changed it. So the old position is still reflected and you are submitting for a new position. Please be keen on that. Now, then we go to the body of the letter. A brief introduction about yourself and summarize your experience, especially with relevance to the position that you are applying for. Check spellings, please recheck spellings. A lot of us are in a hurry. We submit applications that are full of typos. Then if I'm recruiting you and your documents are full of typos, I'm thinking this person does not pay attention to detail, and how are they going to be able to carry out my tasks if they are this sloppy? So it's very important, go through it, verify, check, make sure that there are no spelling mistakes on the documents that you submit. If you are asked to submit a CV and a letter of intent, only submit the CV and the letter of intent. Do not attach 10 pages of your certificates. If the vacancy calls for submission of CV, letter of intent, and certificates, attach your certificates. Do not attach your ID. If the vacancy asks for ID, submit your ID. But usually those documents would be required at point of interview, at point of recruitment, not at point of applying for the job. So attention to detail. If I ask you to submit your letter of intent and your CV, and you submit all these other documents, again, I'm thinking this one will not do what I want because they're not listening to me already before I have even recruited them. So be keen on those. And some of us in this forum are employers. So even as you are employing, these tips also apply. When you're employing, when you're recruiting, look out for these things, because it is in these little things that we gauge and we see, will this person do the job or will they not do it in the way that I want it? If they cannot follow this simple instruction, how are they going to follow bigger instructions that require maybe moving large sums of money or large sums of medicines, so that's how you gauge, will this one pay attention to detail for me or not? Next slide. Okay, so we have resources at your disposal with regards to job hunting. LinkedIn is now the most widely used resource and available resource for recruitment. If you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn latest tomorrow. Upload your profile. You sign in, register, sign in, and upload your profile. It's very interactive, and it allows you to get to network and to meet with very many people around the world. And you can get jobs, you can get invited to conferences. There is a lot happening on LinkedIn. If you are interested in the humanitarian space, UN and NGO Jobs has a website, has an interactive app that you can use. There's talent.com. What jobs will share these? So for now, they don't make sense, but when you check them up, they will make sense to you. There's jobsinkenya.co.ke, Brighter Monday, ReliefWeb. ReliefWeb also is another, if you're interested in the humanitarian space, but they have jobs as well. So it's another tool that you can use. And there are many others, those are the ones that I could think of the top of my head. Google, if you are interested, just Google. Once you Google, you will get many more than the 6, 7 I have listed here for you. Next slide. Now, I came across this last year. There is a site, it's called www.jobscan.co. Yes, it has a funny link, but it works. Now, how this tool works is if you're applying for a job, you've seen a vacancy, you've identified a vacancy. The tool allows you to have an interface of your CV against the vacancy announcement. So the tool takes you through and points out keywords on the vacancy that you need to change on your CV so that your CV becomes more bot friendly. I think that's the best way that I can describe it. So that if they run it through that bot that I had explained earlier, the bot will pick up the keywords. You're not altering your CV to what you haven't, to work experience you actually don't have. What you're doing is you're rephrasing the words on your CV so that they tie into the vacancy announcement that you are interested in applying for. So that's just what this does. It's a marvelous tool. Maybe, it shall be shared and you guys can chance it and try it and see how it works. It will help you. And it also helps you with polishing up your CV in terms of keywords that, you thought were okay, but for the recruiter, those are not, you can get catchier phrases to use that will help get you onto the shortlist. Okay, so that we have talked about looking for jobs. Now we move to the interview. If you are looking for a job, please change your ringtone. If I call you and it's one of those, I can't even describe it. Because I saw on the list there, you know those ringtones I'm talking about, those ones that start, hey, why are you calling me? Where are you going? I'm coming to your phone. I'm coming. Don't stop. Stop harassing me. Those ones. Those ones. And then the Lingala back tones and all of those. They do not sit well with recruiters because it shows an element of a lack of seriousness. Unfortunately, we are in the business of judging, and first impressions can only be first. You never have a second opportunity to make a first impression. So when I call you, that's my first impression of you. Make it worth your while and mine as well. When you're called, answer your phone professionally. Say good morning, good afternoon, hello. Don't say Sasa, because you don't know who's calling you. Fiti, don't do the slang when you don't know who's calling you. Then if I call you and I tell you, my name is Mary Oyeke, you applied for this position and I would like to invite you for an interview. It is okay for you to tell me, Mary, please, may I take a minute to note down the date, the time, and the venue? A lot of us don't. We say, okay, oh, okay, I hear you, time. And then 20 minutes later, you're calling me to ask me, oh, Mary, where was the interview again? No. Stop me and ask me, I'm sorry, I didn't get that. May I note it down? It is okay. Or if you're in a commute, public transport, it is okay to let the recruiter know that you're not in a position to take down the details, and then they will send you a text on the venue and the time and the date and all those details. But you look very untidy when you answer, yes, I've heard, I've confirmed, I'm coming, and then half an hour later, you're calling to verify the details. Just be impressed. Basically, your interview starts when you answer your phone. So do the best that you can to impress whoever is calling you. Now, we have reached the day of the interview. Dress smart. Even if the company you're going to work for, everybody wears ripped jeans, do not show up in ripped jeans on the interview date. For the ladies, we are still very colonial. So, I emphasize you put on a dress or a skirt that is at your knees or below. If you must wear a trouser suit, let it not be tight. For the gentlemen, a formal shirt and trousers, pants. You don't have to wear a tie, but a tie would be nice. And wear dress shoes. Don't wear sneakers to an interview. Show up on time, if not 15 minutes earlier than requested. If you're running late, send a text, because I'll probably be in an interview already. Send a text and say, I'm sorry, I'm running late. I will be there on time. If you realize for whatever reason, you have done your research between the time I call you and your interview date, if you're not interested in the job, let me know, at least on the morning of or the day before. I have had sessions where interviewees don't show up. You have scheduled the interview and then they don't even answer your phone, or they just say, no, I'm not coming. It's not. The industry is small and it's getting smaller. So if you do that for me as an HR in company X, and then I sit and talk with my colleague in company Y, and then, we discuss, of course, your name will show up in a position in company X, Y, or Z, and I will say, that one is unreliable. You do not want that reputation before you are engaged in a position. This is the day that you carry your original certificates and a copy of your CV, because as you're interviewed, you will be referring to your CV, and we may ask you for a copy of your documents. You present them. We will take copies and give them back to you. Make sure you take back all your copies. There are folders that are sold in any stationery shop. You can get, they range from 500 to 2,500, depending on what your pocket desires. Put your documents in one of those folders. It's neater. Your documents don't crumble at the sides. And when you present it, you look very, very organized. And that is what a recruiter likes, an organized employee. And then please switch off your phone or put it on silent, please. It will not behove you to be, when we are in the middle of the interview, your phone starts ringing. Immediately you lose marks. It doesn't matter how good you were. It doesn't matter how, even if you are the A student from class 1 to university, you won scholarships to Rhodes and Oxford, and the minute your phone rings, you have turned off. Every panelist, their phones can ring, but yours should not ring. So please, emphasis, put your phone on silent or switch it off completely. Next slide. So if you're asked questions, answer them concisely. If you do not understand the question, feel free to ask the panelists to repeat. It is okay, it is acceptable. If you are asked to talk about yourself, because we need to know how you communicate, we are gauging your communication skills. Do not start us from primary school. Your narration should start from school and training, especially with regards to the job for which you are being interviewed. Last, the most important is the salary, which is usually the last question that you're asked in an interview. Now, we don't ask you your salary because we want to know how much we will pay you. We ask you that salary question because we are gauging your capacity to bargain. If you are asked by your employer to go and bargain for whatever it is that they need, will you be able to do it? Do not ask a question after you've been asked that question. Because I see a lot of interviewees, we ask you, okay, so how much would you like us to pay you? And then the interviewee throws back the question, how much is your salary for the job? No. Or you have a salary scale? No. That is not the purpose for the question. The purpose gauges your bargaining skills, and that's it. So the best way to answer that question is, if you haven't been able to obtain the salary details for this job, state the salary you're earning presently, and then you can add a little bit on top, and always say that the salary is negotiable so that you leave room for, if we need to. You also show that you can negotiate, you can bargain, and it kind of gives you an edge. Of course, we know how much the job is worth, but always leave room for, can you accept this salary? Is this okay? And of course, most importantly, that you can bargain, and you will be able to bargain on behalf of your employer. Next slide. Okay, now we have finished the interview. We have told you that we will get in touch with you. If we get in touch with you, recruitment commences. We have done your background checks, contacted your referees. Ideally, HR should communicate with everyone who was interviewed to let them know that they were not, of the others who are not successful, to let them know that they were not successful and to wish them well. But it is rarely done, and it's a shortcoming on a lot of recruiters. It is sad, and we hope to do better. But if you're the successful candidate, you will be sent a letter of offer. My advice is do not be in a hurry to sign it. Give that letter of offer to someone you trust, and you trust implicitly to go over it for you and with you. Ensure that your concerns are addressed. There is no shame in counter-offering and asking for inclusions. Medical cover, hours of work, overtime, mileage, per diem for out-of-town travel. Make sure that those are addressed. Maybe not hours, make sure that they're addressed. Maybe mileage and per diem, probably not, but they should be able to answer your questions and address those so that when you're making a decision to join this company, you're making it with the full knowledge that this is what I will be entitled to, this is what I will not be entitled to. And if you're comparing it to your present employer, if I'm offering you 50,000 shillings more, but my medical cover is less, I do not pay you overtime. I do not pay you mileage or transport allowance. So is it worth it for you to leave where you are presently, knowing that you may have to dip into your pockets to meet these shortfalls that this other employer, who is giving you more salary, will not be able to provide? So you need to have that full disclosure so that you're making a well-informed decision as to whether you need to leave where you are or not. Okay, then the contract comes. Next slide. Ensure to read the contract thoroughly before you sign it. Salary, the contract will include salary, notice period, annual leave entitlement, probation period, and terms. You need to understand those. I have encountered colleagues who only look at the salary, start date, and end date. They do not read anything else. Then they come to me and tell me, Mary, I'm leaving tomorrow. I will ask you only one question: where's my notice? And then you start, but I get your file. I ask you, did you notice that you're supposed to give me 1 month? You're supposed to give me 1 month notice? Where's my 1 month notice? And I promise you, they will say, Seko Soma, I didn't read. You see, now you have no local standard, you have no legal standing, because this signature at the bottom of this contract is yours. You cannot tell me that you didn't read it. So those are very, very important things. It doesn't matter how much you may claim to be schooled, but I don't know, contracts just excite us. So we overlook the most important things, and then we find ourselves in situations that really could have been avoided. Another thing is you cannot start work and then disagree on assignments or terms when they were clearly stated in your contract, which you signed. You signed in a hurry and therefore overlooked. You must have a job description. Can you carry out those tasks within the job description? Any other duties? What is included in any other duties? You know, days of work, terms of service, all of those. You get a pension other than NSSF? Do you get medical other than NHIF? All of those you need to know before you sign the contract and before you start work. Next slide. So different employers look for different skills in potential employees. Creative, such as advertising, look for different skill sets from the NGO or sales, for instance. Refer to the vacancy announcement as you prepare your application and CV. Ensure that your skill set match the job as closely as possible. Do not use the same CV and letter to apply for every job you come across. Tailor them to suit each individual one. If you get rejection letters, do not despair. Keep applying. One day, someone will see your skills for what they actually are. But as I say that, also do remember your letters have no typos. Your presentation is correct. Everything that you're putting forward, you're not applying for jobs that you're not qualified for, and you don't meet even the minimum threshold for the jobs, because then you set yourself up for disappointment. You're like, I've applied for 100 jobs, not even one has gotten back to me. So those are the things that you look for when you're applying for jobs. And then there is this one which has come up in recent times, which we need to talk about. The next slide. There are new societal and professional norms which have come up as a result of social media. Now, social media is a good thing, and it can also be a bad thing. What I would advise is be careful of your social media footprint. If you insult people or are unprofessional on social media platforms, you decrease your chances of engagement. Employers are now sifting through potential employee social media pages and noting their engagements. If it isn't in line with their ethics, consider yourself unemployed or unemployable. Nude pictures, obscene posts, even if personal and social, will not put you in good light with a potential employer. To give you an example, there's a fellow I follow on Facebook. He had a situation maybe about a year and a half ago, and people flooded his Facebook page with, the insults, the vitriol was real. I couldn't believe it. And last week, one of the people who was key in insulting him on this situation showed up for an interview at a company where he is a majority shareholder. Now you see, if he's a vindictive person, he would have just said, no, I don't want to see this person, get them off the shortlist. But he said, Grace, let us see. I've not asked him how it went, but you see, that's how you end up spoiling for yourself opportunities. It's not necessary. Engage politely. Do not be insulting, and don't. I hear this phrase all the time, social media is social media. It is not. There's a friend of mine who, after 2017 elections, she engaged every day in this battle against Jubilee. And I had to mute her because it was giving me anxiety. And only to hear 6 months later, she applied for a job, was the best candidate, until one of the panelists looked at her CV and said, but wait a minute, isn't this the lady who was insulting Jubilee? And that is how she lost a fantastic, I think the salary was like $500,000 job opportunity. So that's how social media is. I was going through some recruitment portal, and part of the requirements was your Facebook page, it was Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So that is how seriously employers now are taking your social media footprint. So stand warned, be very careful. Now to wind up, my contact shall be shared. Last slide, please. My contact is available, it's there. I usually charge a heavily discounted fee of 10,000 to prepare, adjust your CV. Because Dr. Nyabera and PSK are good friends of mine. I will give you a discount and charge 6,000. There's a code that will be shared. If you use that code, this fee, it will be reduced for you. So this fee will include reviewing your CV and a 30-minute interview preparation session where we will do a mock interview so that when you are next going for an interview, you are prepared, you know how to answer questions, and that will put you in better standing against other candidates that will be shortlisted with you. If you wish to engage my services, email your CV as a Word document because then I can edit it. If you email me a PDF, I will not be able to help you edit your CV. The other details will be included through the PSK. And all I can say is all the best as you prepare to enter into the workforce. If you are recruiting, all the best as you recruit. I also offer recruitment services, so we can engage and I can help you with that as well. I wish to thank you all for your time. Thank you very much once again.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Mary, for taking us through that. I believe it was a very insightful session for most of us. I think personally, what I took out from this is the thing about decorative CVs. I thought maybe the more work you put on your CV, the more marketable you are, but then I'm learning it differently today. So we're going to just go through a couple of questions here. The first one is from Isaac Okeo, who's asking if you could kindly explain what do you mean by decorative box in CVs. So maybe you could just briefly explain that as I prepare the next question for you.
The decorative box, oops, am I?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Usually it is, I see candidates putting their CV within a box. Then the how do I explain it? There's the box surrounds the words, the letter. How do I, gosh, the English has gone. But your CV layout is within a box. You type it in this box. Or you, oh gosh, I think what I will do with this one is do one and send to you, Doc. Okay. That you can share. So yeah, it's a border actually, not a box. It's a border. Someone has corrected me. Yes. So within this border, you put your text within the border. So that border, if you send your CV to a company that uses a bot to filter CVs, that bot will not be able to pick up keywords because it is blocked by this border. Are we together?
Okay. Yes. I think that's well said. And maybe, I don't know if this is one of the ATS-friendly CVs that we're talking about.
Yes. They do not like them coming in that decorative border.
All right. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Yes.
Go on.
No, just have, you can do the two columns. The column that has the education, the skills, the referees, and then the adjacent to it is, adjacent to education would be your education details, your first degree, second degree, first degree, high school, and then your professional certifications, then two columns. But that decorative border, I don't know why it just doesn't sit well with these algorithms of job filters.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for that. The next question you have here is about the salary. So I'm just going to read to you two questions. That is, one is from Dr. Brenda Alesso, who says about salary expectation. Can I ask what is the job culture before going ahead to state the amount? And then Dr. Druti Kerai is also asking for situations like pharmacists, especially after internship, where you get paid over 150K. If you go for an interview after completing internship and state 150K as your expectation, the chances of getting the job are less. How do we go about that, especially seeing that pharmacists in some sectors are paid barely 50K or unemployed? So since the two of them are just under the salary expectation, maybe you could give some feedback on that.
Okay, Brenda has asked, can she ask about the job culture before she states the amount? If you come to me and ask me about the job culture of the organization I'm interviewing for, I will lie. I will make it so rosy, you will want to start work tomorrow. That's just human nature. That is how we are. It is best to do your own investigative research to find out what the job culture is before you join. You can ask questions to the interview panel. Of course, that is allowed. I didn't put that in the slide because it's automatic. Maybe, I don't know how to put this, because for real, we would all lie. We would paint you a very rosy picture. So what I would advise is not to ask about the work culture, but rather to find a question, maybe ask them what the goals of the organization are, where the organization sees itself in 5 years, 10 years, what room for growth is there for an individual. That's a better way to phrase it, so that you see if you fit in with the goals and aspirations of the organization, rather than to ask what the job culture is, because we will lie. And then you will get in and you will be very disappointed. Then the second question is, now I don't know how to answer this one about if you're an intern and you're earning at 150K, and then you're employed and you're earning 50, then there's a disconnect somewhere, which I think Dr. Nyabera needs to deal with, because for me, it's the intern should be earning less than the regular employee. So how does that work? I don't know.
Mary, if I could give some clarity on that.
Yes.
Yeah, so what usually happens is once we complete the farm school, we usually go for the MOH internship, and that is the amount that one is paid during the internship period. But then once you complete your internship, you are done with the MOH posting. So that means you now start looking for employment, since now you are not employed anymore by the government. You'll be done with your internship, that is. So that means you now need to start looking for a job somewhere else. Does it make sense?
Yeah, okay. Now, that's, okay. The internship pay is not classified as a salary. It is an allowance. So if you're interviewing now for a regular job, you're not quoting your internship allowance because it is not a salary, it is an allowance. So that is not classified as a salary. Your salary is when you're on payroll and when you receive all benefits accrued to being on payroll. So, wow, that makes it very awkward for you to drop pay by 100K.
Yeah, but I think the main thing there would be about negotiating for and to earn more than that. Like
yeah, I think that would be, yeah. that would be for you to negotiate. And don't present yourself and say, well, as an intern, I earned 150K, and therefore now I want something around that figure, because that is an allowance. That is not a salary. So I think maybe the mindset needs to be changed so that we are working towards engaging from the salary standpoint and not from the allowance standpoint. I don't know, do I make sense?
So yeah, I get you. But then for the same money that is given, it's usually a salary that is under the job group L, like Dr. Vincent has just clarified on the chart. Okay. So once you're posted, it's a salary plus including allowances. So the issue is once you're out of internship, and you have to now start looking for a job.
Regular job market.
Yeah. So maybe I could also just add another question, which I think could assist with that, is someone is asking, how do I ask for a higher salary? And after how long do I ask for a raise? If, let's say, I had understated my expected salary and said a lower one that I thought I should have gotten.
Whoa. Okay, what I would advise is before you attend an interview, research on the job. Do a market research. You can do a desk research. You don't have to do physically work. You can do a desk research. There are tools that give you base salaries across many professional areas. So based on do like 4 companies, find out how much these people pay, and then do an average, 50, 60, 70, 80, add all of those, divide by 4, so that you're going with the average salary. Now, I notice a lot of people get shortchanged in terms of you attend the interview because you need the job, you say, I want 50,000 shillings. You start work, and then you find your colleagues are already on the 80,000 shillings and they're doing the same job as you. Personally, I find that morally wrong. I don't know, it's a culture that I think we need to change as Kenyans, because why would you do this to somebody? If there's a salary scale, there's a salary scale. But if you go in and you find you're being underpaid, the best is to approach human resource. Don't go to the boss with a confrontational attitude, because that will only just, at the end of your probation, he will tell you it's been real, goodbye. So go to HR and sit with HR and find out how your issue can be addressed in a way that is pleasant for you, for the management, and for human resource. That is what I would advise. Don't fight. And if you feel that they're not addressing your issue, then maybe within this probation period, it is time for you to now go research and find a place that will work for you, because that is also permissible.
All right, thank you for that.
I think, can I chip in?
Okay, yes, Doc.
So thank you so much, Miss Mary, for your very good presentation. So one of the other things we are doing is we are trying to collect, right now we're actively collecting the data of the pay data for all pharmacists, so that we can have clear indications of what you should be paid, for 2 reasons. 1, for people who are applying for positions. Number 2, for those people who are actually starting companies that will hire pharmacists, so that they can come and ask us, how much should we pay pharmacists? And we'll tell them how much to pay. So when we ask those questions, when you get a job somewhere, please let us know. We don't want to know exactly, I get 56 point. No, just tell us it's between 50 and 70, or between 60 and 70. And then so we have those demarcations, so that we can guide you when you want to move from that position to another position. Over and out.
Okay, someone has asked if they can use Canva to design a CV. Now, can I get back to them on this one?
Yeah, sure, it's okay.
Yeah. And then someone has asked,
one more question before you continue. One
Yes.
more question. I have not actually been, my internet has just sucked like crazy. I was wondering, have you addressed the social media postings?
Yes.
Well enough. Okay, good.
Unless anyone has a question,
No.
I addressed it. I said, I even give examples of people that I know that have lost opportunities because of their social media footprints. And
Mary, maybe just to, Mary, sorry for interjecting. As you address that as well, there's someone who asked, Dr. Faith, is having little or no social media presence a disadvantage to one's employability? So maybe you could also address that as you finish on the social media aspect.
Oh, I didn't see that. I mean, you'd have to be very antisocial to not be on social media. But there's some people who live. I have a friend who has lived his life without, he's only on WhatsApp. He's not on Facebook. Either that or he hides his profile very well. But he's on Twitter. But I think because you need to keep abreast with what's going on around you, you need to be aware of what is going on. You need to keep in touch. Your finger needs to be on the pulse, as it were. So if you're not on social media where all the fingers on the pulse are, so how are you keeping abreast of training, of opportunities? It's okay, just use your social media well. I think that's how best I would put it. Yeah, don't pick unnecessary fights. You know, if walk away from, I always tell people these days I found Jesus, because I used to be that one who would pick fights with people. I'm just like, really? Then I realized, no, Mary, this is not your portion. You're going to lose your head. So be careful. Don't. And I think more picking fights with people you don't know and going on someone's page and pouring vitriol. So, you know, you don't know this person, you don't know what's going on. You just find someone is being accused of maybe stealing money. You don't know the backstory. Yes, those ones, be very careful. There's a big debate on the LGBTQ now, and it's huge. This is now it. Be very careful what you write about LGBTQ, because it is now sort of the language of the future. So if you're going on about how they must be killed and how they must be hanged and how what, and then after a month, Dr. Nyabera is looking for somebody and they give Mary the task, the first thing I will do is look up your name and look at your social media profile. If you've written there, let us hang all the LGBTQ, I'll be like, I can't, Dr. Nyabera, this one, no. Their CV is perfect, but you know, they are not the right fit, because they will carry that bias to work, and it will, what if you have a colleague who is LGBTQ? It means you will want this colleague to be lynched at work? Sorry, I digress.
It's okay. Thank you for that clarification. We have another question by Dr. Jen Wanjiku, who is asking, can I ignore the job experience requirement above 10 years in bracket and apply anyway? And then as you address that, you could also clarify on whether there's a difference between a CV and a resume, or they can be used interchangeably.
I've seen the questions. Now, the job experience, if you feel that you can handle the tasks within that job advert, go for it. Even if you have 2 years, usually it's 10 years requires some level of responsibility, and that's why they ask for 10 years. But if you feel that your work at you've been working for 2 years and you have like 90% of the tasks on the job description in the advert, you're able to do, by all means, apply. I usually don't discriminate unless, of course, it's like a senior position where then you're like, no, maybe this person is a little too young for this senior position. But apply and you lose nothing. After all, what the worst they can tell you is no, or not reply to you at all. But I think as long as you feel you're confident enough to handle those positions that require the 10 years, I think go for it. If you feel in your mind you're ready to handle the position that comes, I mean, the responsibility that comes with that position at those 10 years, go for it. Now, CV and resume. Resume is a summary of the CV. So they're not used interchangeably because they are different documents that serve different purposes. There are some people who only ask for 3 pages, 2 pages. That is a resume. Those that ask for a detailed curriculum vitae are the 6 pages and going forward. So you do not mix the two.
Thank you so much. Yeah, there's one more question here from Dr. Myro Cheng, who's asking, how do you explain that you're doing your master's on your CV?
Under education, the subsection on education, starting with, if you have an undergrad, you will indicate the undergrad. So the master's will come first, will come directly under the subheading of education. So you will have a master's in pharmacy, however it's abbreviated, I don't know. And then university, USIU or University of Nairobi, you started in January 2022, and it is ongoing. So you indicate 2022 ongoing, ongoing. And then you have your undergrad, Bachelor of Pharmacy, and like that. And then you have your short courses that you have attended, your on-the-job training, if you feel that it will help you with the job that you're applying for.
I would like to mention something also. You know, somebody asked about the 10 years.
Yes.
They said that the women who apply for positions, they go to 95 to 100% of whatever requirements have been requested for.
Yes.
Men will apply even if they have 50% of the requirements.
True.
And a lot of times you get that chance of where you go in and maybe you've had a chance to sit next to somebody and they think, wait a minute, this person can do it. So sometimes you've got to have the confidence that you can do what you need to do. And our sisters need to also get that confidence. Just go and do it. Just walk in, present yourself.
Yeah, I think as long as you know that you're capable of handling the responsibility and of this position that you're applying for, apply for it. You did, because we women, we what's the word? We second guess ourselves, and we suffer from imposter syndrome because that is how we were socialized. We were socialized to not be confident, because if you're too confident, you will not get a husband, you will not, you're too arrogant, toned down, you know. So I understand, you know, we always must be cautious and not too upfront. But this is a new dispensation. If you feel you can do it, go for it.
All right, thank you so much. Okay.
Somebody asked, where is it? If the offer is infinite, the offer that I gave for the CV, if it changes, Dr. Nyabera will and Doc Heldon will let you know. But this is an offer we are giving PSK. Take advantage of it. In the event that the offer changes, there will be communication. And someone else has asked how much I charge for interview preparation only. Wow, because that was a full package. I think that one, I will share the info, and then the two docs can communicate on that specific one. Okay, someone has said, sometimes as doctors, you're forced to underquote your salary to secure a position. How do you renegotiate? Did we answer that question?
Not yet.
Can I try before you go on?
Yes.
So I think one of the ways you renegotiate is very simple, actually. Document what you're doing. Document what you're doing and show value in what you're doing. An example is the lady from Sali, I think from Kiambu, who got into a hospital, realized that there are a few things that were being done not correctly in ICU. And once she made the changes, patients were coming out of ICU 2 days, 3 days earlier than they used to before. So they saved the medical system. So if you document those things, you'll say, hey, I'm asking for a raise now. This is where Mr. Yeke comes in. How do you ask for a raise when you have evidence that you've actually been producing, that you've actually affected revenue for the company or for the organization? So if you've actually positively affected or maybe increased the revenue because of what you're doing, how do you use that as a tool to renegotiate? I am throwing that to you, Miss Mary.
It would be the best leverage to ask for a review of your salary. Like I'd said earlier, do not go with a confrontational attitude, because that will only just alienate you. But if you come in and you identify weaknesses that you can improve and you show that you have improved, then it gives somebody ground to say, okay, this person is worthwhile to have in the team. So as you enter into a new place, look at the areas where you can make an impact. Look at the areas where you can bring change, especially where if you're from an organization, and then import those ideas and say, you know, this can work. This has been proven to work in other places, and let's see. But if you find that you're earning significantly less than contemporaries, don't just go and say, well, I'm earning less than Mary and we're doing the same job, so I want my salary to be reviewed. No, find a way that works and an environment that creates for you to have that discussion without offending other people that could review your salary upwards. Doc Lucas, you say you're only on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is social media as well. So
that's what I'm saying. That's the only one I keep.
Yeah, it's part of social media. How you use it, like I told the team before, use these social media networks to your advantage. Instead of using them to fight wars that are not yours. LinkedIn works. That was my first. Everyone must get on LinkedIn. It's as a matter of course, everyone must get on LinkedIn, because that's where a lot of opportunities are. That's where a lot of networking is. And you learn a lot in terms of what's going on in the world.
You know, that was when I was graduating, it was a class. We had a class where you had to set up a LinkedIn account, and you were graded on your LinkedIn account. This is before I graduated from my Doctor of Pharmacy program. I had to have that. One thing, again, I want to go back to this. Pharmacists are very good at offering. That's why pharmacists actually, I think, the only healthcare profession who gives things for free. A lot. You walk into a pharmacy and say, I have this and that, and they tell you what to do. As a result, we don't document because we are helping. The habit of documenting how you're influencing the posture of the company, the things you're doing that are making things change.
Yeah.
Documenting that makes you also you are not just a talker. You don't just talk about stuff. A lot of people talk, but when you implement and you see the results of implementing, and you show that, a lot of people, especially those who are entrepreneurial in mind, people who are your leaders who are looking at who's going to take this company forward or this organization forward, when you actually set out to do something and you accomplish it, that is a big feather on your cap.
Yeah. And when I was talking about CV writing, under your duties and responsibilities, always have accomplishments. The accomplishments speak to the recruiter more than actually the tasks. The tasks are generic, but what value have you added to the company that you have worked for? You came in, there were no systems, you helped set up systems. You wrote an operations manual. You introduced them to new pharmaceutical software and helped in its implementation. You looked at the stock cards, there was a weakness, and drugs were not being dispensed properly, in whatever. Anything that will make work better and make the output more exciting, definitely you have to note it down.
There's a question there, I don't know whether you've seen it, the one about a toxic work environment.
Yes, I've just seen it. Now, I'll give a personal example. My CV is littered with, I worked 1 year here, 1 year there, 1 year, and I was like that. I cannot stand to work in an environment that doesn't make me happy because I spend a lot of time in the office. And so therefore, I would wake up one morning and say, I'm tired of this job because why are you not making work pleasant for me? So I have many jobs where I have 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year. And some people don't like it because they say that it shows that you're flighty. But, and as work gets, as dynamics of employment change, now it's becoming, I was ahead of everybody in terms of not accommodating toxicity in the workplace. But we now have laws and systems in place that try to address these issues. The biggest one is sexual harassment, which very few people want to talk about, but which is huge in the workplace. Now, there's a Sexual Harassment Act, which every employer should adhere to. And they say if you have more than 25 employees, which a lot of us will not have, and there's a process to review that number downwards. I talked to an HR colleague of mine. They're trying to lobby with the government to reduce that number so that it starts with as minimum as 5, where there's a whole law, 6 pages of Sexual Harassment Act, which everybody is required to sign. And if you go against it, you lose your job. Now, how many of us are willing to put ourselves on the line? If I'm being harassed by my boss, can I speak up? Can I talk? Who do I talk to? If he's harassing everybody, then which agency, which organization can I approach? Those are the things that we need to put in place because HR sometimes may be helpless to handle those situations. But it's still sort of a very gray area. But I think what happened in the States ricocheted around the world on the Me Too movement. And I think now Kenyans are also a bit more aware of the need to have women, as ladies especially, protected from sexual harassment. And we hope that there will be gains. Now, but if you feel that your workplace is toxic, you have several options. You can leave, which is difficult. You can ask for someone that you can talk to within the organization, or you can get a counselor. There are people who actually offer counseling services now that handle those issues. I will prepare a list of people that you can get in touch with that can help you through whatever mental issues you will be having. If that can also be part of your induction, when you're joining, ask them, do you have in place a culture that allows us as staff to attend counseling services in the event that we require them? So that may also be part of your asking, is this employer nice enough to understand that I may have issues, not just toxic, but also within, my own head or whatever, so that you work in an environment that you enjoy. But we are still far from getting to the space where this question was coming from. And we hope that we will get there soon, and that work will be pleasant for everybody. Someone has
one more thing.
Sorry?
Before you move away from that, sexual harassment is about power. And
yes.
we have a thing about ladies are being sexually harassed. Even men can be sexually harassed. And the reason why we don't even get to hear about it is because men do not believe that they can, because that's what we always say. So even the men who are here, I'm proud. I can say this. I actually, at some point in my life here working in Kenya, I got sexually harassed by my boss. And I did not realize what it was until when I realized this is not good. When I left is when I realized that was a bad situation. So, yes.
Yeah, sexual harassment goes
by the way, my boss was a female too. So.
Yeah, sexual harassment goes both ways.
Yes.
Men, many ways. Men can harass men. Men can harass women. Women can harass women. Women can harass men. And it's sad that we still are grappling with these issues. The United Nations is only now, since they were set up in 1945, is only now in the last 5 years taking sexual harassment seriously. I mean, I left the United Nations because I couldn't deal. The only excitement for me was my salary at the end of the month. And people were horrible. The level of harassment was divine, if there's such a word. And you couldn't tell anybody because everybody looks at you like, but Mary, everybody's doing it. So what's your problem? And you don't want to be in that space where you hate going to work because, and then there's also the tribal, which may be an elephant in the room, but we probably need to talk about the element of tribalism in this country, which makes for, especially if you're young and starting out, can overwhelm you and make you wonder why you finished school and are working, because it can make for a very hostile work environment. What does one do? Does one quit? Because if you quit here, you go to the next job, you'll find the same people who are the higher ups. It's such a complicated thing. It's but I will talk to my friend who is in one of those committees for lobbying for these things, and we see if we can, in our own little way, make a difference in people's lives. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you so much. I see it's about time, and I think maybe if you could address just the last question here, then we have your closing remarks. Then we'll give a chance to our CEO, Dr. Lucas, to give some remarks as well. So there's a question here by Dr. Anushri, who's asking, how do we address professional misconduct? In some cases, these situations can make you lose a job or you're let go in undesirable circumstances. So maybe you could just answer that and also give your closing remarks.
Okay. Professional misconduct. The best way to circumvent this is to have employees sign a code of conduct. I have a code of conduct. If you're an employer on this platform, sidebar me, we can tailor make you a code of conduct. So as your employee comes in, even if they're already employed, let them sign the code of conduct. The code of conduct will detail exactly what is expected of them within the place of work and without, as long as they're representing you and they are under your payroll. Now, misconduct is varied, it's wide, and there's different levels which require different actions. I cannot detail all of them. There's gross misconduct, there's conduct which requires a warning, there's conduct which requires a suspension, there's conduct which requires gross misconduct which requires termination without any benefits. So there's a whole ambit of how to handle the various levels of unprofessionalism which require discipline of some sort. So that we can have as a separate discussion. But if you lose your job in a manner that you feel was not fair, the Ministry of Labor has mechanisms that allow you to appeal, that allow you to report, that allow you to make a case if you want to. Because if you're terminated for gross misconduct, it means you lose any and every benefit that you could have accrued working for this organization. So make sure everything is documented and that you have a case. Usually I would advise, don't go to the HR of that organization. Look for someone else who is in an HR capacity and ask them what your chances are before you go ahead. People usually do knee-jerk, and then you find that you actually were in the wrong and that your employer has a case for terminating you. So consult with an HR and find out, do I have a case? This is what happened. This is what transpired. And then if you have a case, then you can lodge with whichever platform that works for you.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Allow me to just give these two questions, because this guy, I think they've really asked. This is the second time I'm seeing each of them asking. The first one is, how do you express that you want to join an organization despite the experience, but you are willing to learn? And the other one is, what's your opinion on using Canva to design CVs? So maybe you could just answer those two last questions.
Okay, now, how do you express that you want to join an organization? What you can do is blind apply. Just look up organizations, get their email addresses, and apply and state in your letter of application, your letter of motivation, that you're interested to offer your services as an intern or as an attachee or whatever fancy term you want to use, because you want to learn. If I see that on my desk as a recruiter, I would give that person an opportunity, give them an audience, and see how we can engage. And you never know, that may lead to an opportunity if an opening shows up that you would be considered. That's a good, so just blind apply. By blind apply, I mean apply where there's no stated vacancy, but you're applying so that your CV is on file. Do not take hard copies to organizations, because the receptionist bins it immediately you walk out the door. So just look for, it shows also that you have researched, you're interested, that you look for our email address and you have applied. for a job, and that, you know, this is, you state your case. It shows that you actually were interested. Even if you write to 15 other people, I don't know those 15 other people. So that helps. So use that.
I think what she was trying to say too is that, for example, you want to work at the UN. Your experience where you worked at another, maybe the EU, and you've got a 20-year experience. So if you come in, of course, there's intimidation and saying, where are you coming for a lower position? But you're coming to the lower position so you can learn. I think that's what the impression, I think that was the spirit of the question.
Wow, okay.
Where your experience should not, maybe you come from the EU, correct, doesn't become an impediment.
Oh, that's a tricky one.
Okay.
That is a tricky one.
Okay.
I mean, state it in your letter of motivation that you have decided to change your career path or something. I think that would be the best, huh? Because if I am recruiting, say for an accountant position, now accounts is a bit specific, a logistical clerk, let's say, and someone who has a degree in pharmacy has decided they're interested more in learning about logistics, and you know, they've seen it's a more challenging and interesting. Maybe daddy insisted you must be a pharmacist because there must be 7 doctors in the family. And then you've seen it is not your calling, it is not your interest, you did it for daddy. Now you want to do what you passionately love. So I think the letter of motivation would excite me if I was recruiting, and I'd say, okay, let me give this person a chance because they have gone really far left in terms of what it is they want to do. And then if you show interest and you show motivation, if you get a good person, they should be able to give you the opportunity and also research. Don't just come to me and say you want to be a logistician. You have a background in pharmacy. What are you bringing to my table in terms of your interest in logistics? What do you know about logistics? What can you do using your pharmaceutical training to improve or to deliver your work as a logistician? I think that's the best way that I would put it. Find a way to marry the two, your background, your training against this new job and this new field of interest. And also, you know, just there are so many online courses. I just didn't put them on the, I think, Lucas, we need to do another session because I've seen there are many people, someone has said we have to do a whole session on LinkedIn. And then I think we need to also do all of these issues that are coming up. We have a sort of continuous discussions on these issues so that people, watu waridhike, I think that's the word I'm looking for, so that we answer all these questions. And now,
I think the other thing it says you did such a good job that they would like to have you back. So that's very good. Congratulations, Mongera.
Yeah. Now, Canva to design CVs. Can I research? I'm old school, so please do allow me to research. And also, please use Google as much as you can. Google is a wonderful, wonderful tool. Almost all your questions and what are on Google. If you're stuck, first port of call should be Google. But of course, we are also here to help you. Now, I will, in the spirit of taking my own advice, find out what Canva is and get back to the 2 docs, and then they can share the info on design of CVs. Someone has asked, if you have no experience, want to work, and are willing to learn on the job. It depends on the make it entry level. If apply for a job that's entry level, how you tell is when the advertisement states 2 years, 1, 2 years, 3 years. So that, you know, is an entry level position. If you're interested, apply. if you are really interested in the job, do as much research as you can so that when I'm asking you questions, you don't look lost. And you're confident and with authority, you can answer these questions that I'm throwing at you so that I see, okay, this person has a pharmaceutical background, but they have shown interest in this assignment, and let us give them an opportunity.
All right, thank you so much, Mary. I think we've covered most of the questions and concerns that guys had. So I'll give you a chance to just give a closing remark in a minute, and then we hand over to the CEO to give his remarks as well.
What I can say is, if you want to advance yourself, if you want to get into the workforce, there are certain things that you need to, there's certain tools you need to equip yourself with. There's certain things you need to know. The bare minimum, your degree is not enough. Degrees don't open doors anymore like they used to before, back in the days of our fathers, for those who are old, of the, a particular age. So what are you bringing to the table? During your holidays, don't sit at home, volunteer. When we were growing up, nobody told us that we could volunteer. And I'm kicking myself. I kick myself all the time. I'm like, I had a year and a half where I could have been going to Aga Khan or MP Shah, which was down the road from my parents' house, and volunteered, because that looks good on your CV. It doesn't have to be the hospital. Get a place where you can offer of yourself, so that when you're doing your CV, you have a lot of activities that show that you're interested, that show that you're more than just what you're showing us on paper, because it shows that you have broadened your skill set, and that anywhere that you're put to work, you can fit in and work. You're a team player. It's very important that you show that you're a team player. So those are the skills that there's a new term for it now, but those are the extra skills that people look for when they're recruiting. How much of a team player are you? How amenable to different tasks are you? How do you get along with other people? So you by showing us how much you can do outside of school, it really looks good for you as you're coming in for interviews. Don't feel shy. Be confident. And if you're confident, the sky's the limit for you. Asanteni sana.
All right. Thank you so much, Mary, for taking us through the whole presentation and the insights you've shared. Mine is to just encourage everyone. I think you can all see the slide that is being shared. There's her contact. Let's take advantage. Let's learn from her. Yeah, and I believe it will take us somewhere. So right now, I'd just like to invite our CEO, Dr. Lucas. Dr. Lucas, if you can hear me, you could just give your remarks.
Loud and clear. Well, I don't know what to say. Mary, Miss Mary, as I call her. I wish you were there when I was applying for my first job, or when I was hiring, because I was hiring also and had all these things you've said, code of conduct and other things. I did not have them until much later. So not only are we learning how to get job, we're also learning how to hire and what to do. So remember too that some of these lessons that you're learning, be on the other side. If there's something that doesn't feel good, if there's something is not good, then make sure when you're hiring or when you're in a position of power, make sure you use it right. You do the right thing. Thank you so much for everybody for coming. It was really, really cool. And I really hoping that we'll do more of these things. It's part of that learning, and how do we grow ourselves to a better position, and to take the opportunities that are there. I just want to say thank you, everybody, again. It's always a pleasure and always an honor to be your leader. And anytime you have any questions, concerns, blah, 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 give me a call. You have my number. and I'm willing to share, discuss, and agree, and discuss and move. So thank you very much. Be blessed. And for those who have to break a fast, go break a fast. For everybody else, have a good night. Thank you. Back to you, Dr. Hezron.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Lucas. So I think this is where we end the session. I'd like to say thanks a lot to Mary, who's facilitated this session. Dr. Lucas, thank you so much. And for everyone who's attended this session, thank you so much for being here. Remember that this session was being recorded and it will be shared on PSK YouTube channel. So be on the lookout, share with your colleagues who were not able to join us. And lastly, remember on 22nd to 27th of May, we have the 43rd Annual Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya Conference at Diani Reef. So please keep registering. We're looking forward to seeing you all there. Thank you so much and have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.